excited for this talk. It's not every day that you get to watch the movies in order to prepare for a talk. And I was so amazed in watching The Matrix. Jeff and I sat down, and we had seen it back when it first came out, but that was a long time ago. And we were surprised at how little we actually remembered of the details of it. It was so rich, and I've just been marinating in it for a couple of weeks and thinking about how it applies. And it's all about the third principle, that we create our reality. But I hope you'll come tonight to refresh what's going on. And I want to share about the 12 powers as an overview, because we are starting a program that's going to go all the way through September 1st that is about real to real. And so we're looking at the movies and what they teach us about the powers that we have. And Charles Fillmore, one of the founders of Unity, identified 12 powers. And we're going to take one power every week in order to give us a really in-depth appreciation of who we are and what is possible for us. So today is the overview of those, and we're going to start by exploring the question, what is the matrix? So if you would run that first video, Nico. Let's just turn off the lights so that...
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
Right now, we're inside a computer program?
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI? You mean artificial intelligence?
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines. We don't know who struck first, us or them. But we know that it was us that scorched the sky. At the time, they were dependent on solar power, and it was believed that they would be unable to survive without an energy source as abundant as the sun. Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive. Fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need. There are fields, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown. For the longest time, I wouldn't believe it. And then I saw the fields with my own eyes. Watched them liquefy the dead so they could be fed intravenously to the living. And standing there, facing the pure, horrifying precision, I came to realize the obviousness of the truth.
What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out! I want out!
Easy, Neo.
Get this thing out of me. Get this thing. Don't touch me. Get away from me. Stay away from me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
It's gonna pop.
Breathe, Neo.
Just breathe.
Change and transition and seeing a new truth is not easy. Carrie's group about braving the wilderness is important because when we begin to step into that zone of transition, it's frightening. And we have trouble accepting things. Yesterday, I was listening to the radio, and I found out that birds aren't real. I know you're laughing, but it's true. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? No, and that's because birds are actually drones for the government. They are robotic. And they're all over the world on different missions. That is a worthy question. What is our chicken that we're eating? But anyway, so birds aren't real, and we've been thinking all this time that they were. So this is actually somebody who put this out there in jest and stayed in character for 4 years, was on talk shows and interviews, and continued to assert and wrote a whole book about it. How birds are not real, they are robots. It's far-fetched and it's funny, but there were some people that believed, and there are more than one conspiracy theory out there, and some people really believe them, and other people think, no. But who's to say? Who's to say if those conspiracy theories are true or not true? It all comes down to what do we believe? And so when we think about the Matrix is programming. It's programming that makes us believe certain things. So Neo and Morpheus were on that screen, which was really a computer-programmed projection for them. It changed their appearance. They could change the furniture. Our imaginations are very powerful. and they can work for the good, or they can work for our detriment. It depends on what we focus on. Imagination is one of our 12 powers, and it's very powerful. Artificial intelligence, which wasn't such a thing back when the Matrix was first made as it is right now, the key is artificial. In that movie, you have all of the Mr. Smiths that are out there who are controlling and profiting from others. But it's artificial. It isn't wisdom. It isn't truth. And so our task, similar to the task of those in the Matrix, was to differentiate between what is truth and what is artificial. Where are we being pulled away from what our soul is telling us? Where are we listening to the opinions of others rather than what our soul is saying? And that's a journey that each one of us must take. And I'm sure we all know people who never ask that question, who are stuck at all different ages in looking toward others and how are they being reflected in the eyes of others, instead of saying, who am I? Who am I in the first place? And what is it that I want to project? As we go through our lives, so the Unity's third principle is that it's our thinking that creates our reality. We see what's out there because of the thoughts that we have. So as we go through transitions in our lives, what we are making that mean determines how we will feel. You all remember 9/11, except for Coltrane. You've read about it. But when 9/11 happened, I was seeing clients at that time, and I had 3 clients in a row that day. And like everybody else, they were thinking about 9/11. The first one came in, and he was somebody who had a lot of issues with his father. And he came in ranting about President Bush and how Bush was so authoritarian and his attitudes and blah, 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 all about Bush. And if he had done things differently, this would never have happened. The next person came in, and she was dealing with molestation. And she said, they came in like rapists in the night. The next person was dealing with grief. And she was all focused on all the families and the loss. Same event, 3 different filters, 3 completely different experiences. And that doesn't even take into account the people that we're calling terrorists, who in their minds are heroes and martyrs, doing what they felt called to do for whatever reason they felt that. The same situation will generate different stories for different people. And our challenge is to take the stories that upset us and investigate why am I feeling this way? What thoughts am I thinking? What beliefs do I have? And are they true? So I'll give you a very personal example with all of this transition that's going on. And if you're new here, the transition is because I'm stepping back from being senior minister at the end of the year. And I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be serving as a minister, but my role will change. And so as we as a community are going through this, I've got my own stuff of what does that mean for me, and then I've got what does that mean for everybody and how are they feeling about it, and it's my job to take care of all of you, and oh, you don't like it, and how am I feeling? So that's a lot. It's been a lot. And as I've heard some different reactions to that, then it's like, oh, did I do it wrong? Did I make a mistake? And then out comes my program about you have to be good. You can't make mistakes. If you make a bad mistake, you go to hell. That's obviously it's extreme, but those programs are in me from when I was very young. And so they affect how I navigate situations in the present, even though I don't believe that. Rationally, I don't believe that. But in the subconscious is where your programming is. And the biggest clue that you're operating from unconscious programming is upset. Upset that possibly is more extreme than what the situation warrants. And we've all been in those situations, right? Either somebody is upset at us and we're like, what? Or we notice for ourselves that our upset is maybe a little bit supersized. So whenever that happens, that is a portal. It's a portal where we can go in. We can, in meditation or in sitting with someone in spiritual direction or whatever tools we use, we can ask ourselves, where is the divine in this? And what is it that the divine cares about anyway? So the divine is an energy, right? It's not a person. It's not a person who says, oh, we just want to keep you safe here, sweetie. No, don't have any upset. The divine is an energy of creation and expansion. And so what's in alignment with the divine is growth. And in case you haven't noticed, growth is often painful. Do any of you remember puberty? Yeah, we were growing in puberty. But it was rarely comfortable. In this particular transition, as I looked within, what I discovered for myself is, those of you who know me know I have a lot of mother energy. And I'm glad about that. I feel like that's a gift. But the shadow side of being the mother is being overly protective, not empowering the children to do what they need to do. It's like you want to helicopter mom every step of the way. And we've probably all been in that situation at some point, unless, you have an opposite energy that's really strong, but you understand that part. And so what I realized is, with this community, I have been working for several years, at least in part, to ensure that when the time for me came to step back, the transition would be smooth. That I would have cultivated leaders that could step forward while I stepped back, and we'd barely notice. And as I thought about that, I realized it's because my programming around transition is very painful. When I was 7, my mother died suddenly. When I was 16, and I had finally found a school where I had friends, which was not my history going through school, but I'd had 2 years at one school and I had friends and it was so great. And my father got fired and we had to move to another state. And I started senior year knowing nobody and never made friends there. So my personal story of transition is it is painful. So the mother in me wanted to make sure that those that I cared for didn't have that pain. And I was operating in my shadow, not seeing that, oh, actually, these are adults. They don't have that story. They might be just fine. They could be empowered to handle this. But I couldn't even see that, which is what the matrix is all about. You can't even see that there's another possibility. So that's why I'm so recommending that people sign up for Carrie's group, because as we go through this transition, you're going to have feelings. Now, maybe some of you are like, whatever. And so if you're in the whatever stage, don't sign up for her group. But if you are feeling some level of upset with this, use it as a doorway. You're not wrong for being upset, and maybe you have good reason for it. It's just, this is an opening that you can get to go in deeper and find out what's in there for you. And the more that all of us deal with our own stuff, the lighter we grow to be as a community. The more free we get. And we're not operating in the matrix anymore. It's uncomfortable time. Last week, Kevin talked about our comfort zones and how much we like our comfort zones. And sometimes it's like, whatever, that doesn't really hurt anybody. And other times, like in the movie, there's a character, Cypher, who betrays the whole group. And why does he do that? Because he misses his comfort zone. He talks about the taste of red meat. And I know this is artificial. I know this isn't real, but it tastes so good. And I want to be famous, and I want to be rich. And he knows that this is a program operating in his imagination, but it's comfortable. And the program that the reality that he's in isn't comfortable. And he's tired of being uncomfortable. And so he's willing to put everybody else at risk just so he can be comfortable. And we can get in that position if we are more committed to our comfort zone than to our souls. So I'm encouraging you to dive in to your soul to see what might be there. There are so many powers that are available to us when we step away from the programming. In the movie, Neo develops wisdom. There's a scene where Morpheus is going to die, and they're just going to have to let him go. But Neo tunes into his own wisdom, and he realizes that's not right, and he dives in and saves him. He knows what the right thing is to do. He develops incredible strength. He talks about their downloads, like they'll plug them into the computer and he gets a download of kung fu, and suddenly he knows how to do kung fu. Yeah, that's the movie, but the reality is everything that we need to know, we're already connected to all of that because we are that. And so if we step away from the belief that it's out there, somebody else has it, we don't. I mean, I don't necessarily need to know kung fu, but whatever it is that I think I do need, if I tune in, I need is there for me. All the downloads, they can just come to us. That power is there. There's another scene where, let's just play this last clip, Kevin and Nico.
Check him. He's gone. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.
So you see, you can't be dead. You can't be. Because I love you. You hear me? I love you. Now get up.
No.
He is the one.
You see displayed there the power of will. He gets back up. You see the power of love that resurrects. You see the power of life that continues even in the face of what seems to be death. You see him standing there, and the bullets of whatever circumstances are presenting to us cannot touch us. Morpheus says of Neo, he is the one. And some people think of that as, he's the Christ figure, he's the one. Because in the Bible, they're always saying to Jesus, are you the one? Are you the one we've been expecting? But in unity, what we're teaching is there is not the one that's out there. Each one of us are the one, because there is only one. What Neo has to recognize, he has to find the power of faith in himself, that he is the one, as each one of us is the one. The Christ of us, the Christ is the template of the divine expressing individually. The Buddha consciousness, when Buddha finally came out of his meditation under the Bodhi tree, they said, who are you? Because they could tell there was something more here. And he said, I'm awake. That's what we are called to wake up, to claim the power that is right there for every one of us. And in the weeks to come, we're going to be exploring power by power, all that is there for us. And I know it's summer. I know you're not all going to be able to be here every time, but just as those of you who are online now, watch us from where you are. Or maybe you can't tune in right at the same time, but you can watch later because it's all recorded. So take this journey. Let's do it together. Let's see if we can all step in more fully to our power. And what difference can we make for the world? As we look at transition, we can have a story of, oh, it's terrible, like I did. But I thought, yeah, but I also have stories about this time when my business fell apart because I was following a spiritual call. And then I used the power of my imagination and I created something amazing that never would have been possible. So the Chinese say, crisis is danger and opportunity. Let's go with opportunity. Let's get in and do our own work so that that stuff is out of the way and we can make something wonderful that exists right now within the mystery. Thank you for taking this journey together.